Good morning. It's Friday. Garland Nixon here with my good friend Professor Danny Shaw. We're going to talk about Haiti. We're going to talk about Palestine and the connections when it comes to U.S. imperialism. Let's talk. Hi, Garland here, and I have with me my good friend Professor Danny Shaw, a man who has been doing yeoman's work in the field of anti-imperialism for years. He's done a lot of great work in Latin America, Haiti, all over the place, and certainly now one of the things we're going to talk about is the connections between Haiti and Palestine. May seem like a strange connection, but the reality is, if you look at what's happening in whether it's Ukraine, Haiti, Palestine, U.S. imperialism is desperate. The empire is falling and it's reaching out in many directions, and people need to understand the importance of being able to put these things together. Danny, welcome to my humble YouTube show.
Good morning, Garland, longtime admirer of your work. And it couldn't be more pressing right now, this moment in Palestinian history and the history of anti-Zionist struggle over the last 76 years. I mean, this genocide started in 1948, and they're really trying to bring it to fruition in front of our eyes. And I was with Jackson Hinkle last night, and we were discussing this. We need to continue to reach millions and millions with this anti-colonial, anti-imperialist message. And in Haiti, the most forgotten, no, not the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, the most misunderstood nation in the Western Hemisphere, the most exploited, the most oppressed, the most manipulated. It is the Palestine of the Caribbean. So we'll continue to make those connections. I can just, speak for myself and my family. We're extremely nauseous this morning. How many millions of Palestinians humiliated, brutalized, murdered, bombed, starved, and where's the outcry? But some aid workers get killed, and of course that's horrific too. But how is it that it takes, now people are taking it serious because some Australians and Polish and in English and those lives are extremely important. But the hypocrisy of Zionism and of capitalism. So Netanyahu gives this apology that it was mistaken identity with this aid convoy. Where's the apology for 76 years of a human Holocaust? And I use these words 100% conscious because I've been studying this for 3 decades. Go to the experts. I just want to start with an image from the streets of Port-au-Prince, one of the images that most inspires me as we continue to prosecute the struggle. The Haitian comrades standing strong. They're always in the streets for Palestine when they have their barricades against the proxy forces of U.S. imperialism, because we hear all this stuff about gangs. These are mercenaries. These are paramilitaries. All these guns, and it's now in the mainstream. We've been saying this. The Haitian people have been saying it for decades. But who listens to the Haitian people? And there's a real challenge linguistically, Garland. There's a real disconnect between what's happening and playing out. And I just want to, bless the space and say what's up to our Haitian people who are the backbone of this struggle, because we can polemicize and disagree over this and that, up here in the belly of the beast. These are Haitian lives. These are Haitian futures on the line. So, na voyons gros aibobo pour tout peuple haïtien cap camper ferme devant imperialisme. So just to, be grateful to the Haitian people for everything that they've taught me since 1998. So that's just a little intro. The Haitian comrades, October 7th, they said, we need 20 kafiyas. We need 50 Palestinian flags. That's our flag. That's the flag of humanity. So no question, there's so many anti-colonial connections, Garland.
One of the important connections, I think, is this, and this is critical to understand for people. October 7th, right? Well, what we're told by the US empire, the Biden people, etc., is October 7th, this happened, and therefore moving forward, this is going on. As if nothing happened on October 6th. There wasn't all these things the same way in Haiti. Now we're told there's gangs in Haiti, there's this going on in Haiti, which we're getting a lot of lies. Talk about, for those who don't know, give people your the history of Haiti that you believe that people need to know, um, how we got here, so that people that don't know Haiti, they don't know the history, they don't know the imperialism, the invasions, the abuse. Let people know what they need to know about Haiti, so they can understand how we got to the point where we are today.
Yeah, how many? So you said we have what, 6 hours today with a little, break for lunch? You know, I was coming up as a teenager in Brockton, Massachusetts, and I was already an anti-colonial thinker, thanks to my mom and different organizations. And I stumbled upon this book by Dr. Paul Farmer. And I'm not saying that Dr. Paul Farmer is by any means flawless. There's a lot of allegations that he received different NED and CIA outfit money. I'm not in any way naive about that. But this book here, The Uses of Haiti, fabulous book that lays out the social history, the coup of 1991, the coup of, well, this was written before the coup of 2000, because I came up in the 90s. I've heard a lot of different things about Paul Farmer. I'm not here to cast aspersions. That's on the Haitian people to sort all of this out. But this reads in the English language is a fabulous introduction to humanize the Haitian people, to take us through how many centuries now of anti-colonial struggle. In synthesis, the Haitian people, since 1804, there was a definitive break. There was a revolution. But all of the colonial powers reunited to continue to punish Haiti. There was the French indemnization. The Germans rolled into the Haitian ports and insulted the Haitian flag, defecating on the Haitian flag. Horrific things that aren't taught to us, because what imperialism wants to do is somehow convince us, that it's the this is all of the Haitians doing, and that's why they have the headlines about cannibalism and all of the racism. That is to decontextualize what is, in essence, like the Palestinian question, like October 7th. This is an anti-colonial question. The other book that I grabbed from my stacks, General Sun, my brother, that's one reason that the French and the US and the core group can never defeat the Haitians. And I had many candid moments there in Okap in the north, in Okai in the south, where there's often no electricity. And if there's no electricity, there's no internet, and there's no ventilateur, there's no fans. And for me, I can't sleep at night with that humidity in the French-US deforestation of Haiti. And that's why the Haitians call the sun their first among comrades, to quote George Jackson, their general, the sun. So this is Jean-Stéphane Alexis. He was part of the 1970s generation of Haitian revolutionaries who fought against Duvalier. Duvalier was kind of the original identity politics sellout. I almost said another word, but I'll say it in Creole, Tissu Blanc. Duvalier, just like Trujillo on the same island in the Dominican Republic, Trujillo is not a Dominican creation. He's a gringo, a U.S. creation. And we have to understand that for all of his rhetoric, Duvalier and the Tonton Macoutes, they're armed, they're financed, they're sponsored, they're coordinated. It's the New York Times and it's CNN. Well, I don't know if CNN existed back then. This is before my time. But in this quote-unquote war against communism, the State Department gives Duvalier the ultimate, the Somoza of Haiti, a henchman, a cruel Netanyahu of Haiti, if you will. So he crushes this entire generation of revolutionaries, of Marxists, Leninists, of anti-imperialists in the 1970s into the 80s. The Haitian people have a huge levée campé, an uprising called the déchoucage, an uprooting. They go for their second revolution in 1986. And they're close to consummating that revolution in 1990 and 1991 with the election of Jean-Bertrand Aristide, the people's priest, TTT. And that's when Clinton activates the intelligence agencies and the State Department and the generals and the oligarchs in Haiti. Every time Haiti has had a possibility to overthrow the chains of colonial humiliation, imperialism has been there to keep Haiti and check them back and keep them, quote unquote, in their place. Unless there is a proper contextualization, we can't even begin to have a conversation today. Are these gangs, are these paramilitary death squads? Is barbecue, just to get a little tantalizing here, is barbecue named barbecue because he burned down Bel Air and Kafoufe and La Saline and Matissan, or is barbecue named barbecue because there were so many Jimmys, which is a common name, that he took up that moniker when he was young because his mom cooked barbecue meat at night. So the dialectic of barbecue is going to flow from all of this homework, all of this research, right? And what did Mao Zedong teach us? No investigation, no right to speak.
Exactly. And, I think that one of the big, there's a great book called How to Hide an Empire. And the only reason that the U.S. empire is able to continue doing what it does is because of the people, the ignorance of the people. The U.S. empire lies to the American people. You've seen these advertisements for the U.S. Navy, a force for good. And you have people believing that the U.S. Navy, the U.S. is going out, even though what's the book by the famous general that said war is a racket, right? And if you read
Smedley Butler.
Right, you read that book, and he talks about Haiti. He was the one that led the invasion of Haiti, and he talks about that he did this for the bankers. They went into Haiti. Literally, Americans don't know this. The United States invaded Haiti. The Marines went into the vault, took their gold out of the vault, literally robbed them like common criminals, and took the gold back to the U.S., to New York, to what was the precursor for Citigroup Bank, and stuck it in their vault. So the idea that Haiti is poor, that's like saying I go to the bank and I take my money out. Some guy comes up behind me, sticks a gun in my back, steals my money, and then says, look at Garland, he's poor. Well, I guess I am. I'm a crime victim. That's the poverty of Haiti, not because Haiti doesn't have great resources, brilliant people, a hardworking labor, all the things you need for a strong economy. It's because the U.S. and France and Canada robbed them like common criminals and thieves. Danny.
Yeah, make it plain, brother, in the spirit of Malcolm. Malcolm spoke in Proverbs, and the Haitian people speak in Proverbs, and the Haitian people always say, "Burikap travail pour cheval galonné." We donkeys here at the bottom sweat all day so that the horses, the stallions, can go and gallivant across the universe and claim hold to all of our riches as we do the hard work. So Haiti at its core is a colonial society, a class society. I consider myself extremely privileged to have been trained by the Haitian left since 1998. And sometimes I call myself the most lucky individual in the world because I was trained by the Dominican revolutionaries from 1997 to 2001 when I lived over there. And the disconnect between the Dominican left and the Haitian left. And we try to mitigate that and get everyone working together, but the linguistic difference, there's many different challenges. But yeah, when you talk to the Haitian people, I'll just keep showing different images because really I'm just a messenger. Everything I'm saying is just quoting, the Haitian leadership, Daoud André and Jafrique Haiti and Mole Gaf and Tet Kole Ti Paysan and all the work. I stand on the shoulders of giants like Kevin Pina from the Long Memory Project, who risked his life to document the savagery that the United Nations inflicted upon the Haitian people from 2004. And that occupation it went from MINUSTA to MINUSJUST, whatever other acronym. I mean, that was almost a 2-decade-long occupation. The UN did not, them blue helmets. It's just like the community officers here who harass us and put us in pens for Palestine. I don't care if you got a dark police uniform or a light blue police uniform, the police are not on our side when it comes to Palestine, when it comes to Haiti. And poor lads don't even, what's behind that badge? Where's the consciousness? Where's the heart? That's a whole nother conversation. But I consider myself, it's a big responsibility, and I'm kind of trapped between a rock and a hard place because, I got the Haitian leadership and the conversations are always in Creole. And then I come to the English speaking world, but the English speaking world, they haven't had the incredible honor of living in Haiti, of staying in Haiti, of listening to the Haitian people in their language and their ancestral tongue. So it's just very humbling for me. It's also a question of incredible patience to undo, I think, a lot of the disinformation. And the disinformation doesn't just come from the imperialist enemy. It can come from different places, because you said it best. And I was with Jimmy Dore last week, and we were joking, almost during the show, because an American audience, Garland, and you've referenced this earlier, an English-speaking audience wants like a very facile, quick, silver bullet, boom, we want to believe in something in Haiti. And Amilcar Cabral, it's important to quote that quote, claim no easy victories, tell no lies. Like, is Haiti on the verge of a revolution? Well, all of the objective conditions are there. The hunger, the gasoline is $15 a gallon, and it fluctuates with the inflation. Life is unlivable. The Haitians say, "Un chien grand goût pas jouer." A hungry dog is an aggressive dog who doesn't play. So those conditions are there, but the subjective factor, and we have to analyze what happened to Lavalas. Lavalas was a mass movement, a movement that I think in U.S. history you'd have to go back to the 1930s or 1969, when the U.S. was on the verge of a revolution, and Jehu Edgar and the FBI was talking about, we have to take out every black messiah, and they did. They took out 26 black messiahs from the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense just in the year 1969. 26 Black Panther leaders. We learn about Fred Hampton, perhaps, if we're in radical circles. We don't learn about Mark Clark. We don't learn about Bunchy Carter, the mayor of the ghetto. So how many mayors of the ghetto down in Port-au-Prince and Okap have been exiled, have been tortured, have been murdered? And we have these dialogues up here, but they can have repercussions out there in Haiti. So everyone in the English-speaking world, please understand that some of these debates develop and unfold where people's actual families and their lives could depend upon what's misunderstood or then said, back down there. Let me show another image, because it's important to keep people really, I think, in Haiti with the visuals. This is Shada. This was a neighborhood in the north in Okap, and the police waged a war on this neighborhood. The police said that the entire neighborhood was drug dealers and criminals, which is, of course, a horrific lie, because in all of these oppressed communities or ghettos, the vast majority are the everyday Haitian people. And this is in 2021. I mean, these are my teachers. This is Cafu Resistance. If people can see the background there, that's, are we still on the sharing?
No, go ahead and share it again. I took it off. Share it again, and I'll put it back up.
I got you. Where did it go? I forget the exact one. Give me a sec. It was this one. Yeah. So this says the slaves have revolted on their t-shirts. That is called Cafu Resistance. That's the resistance crossroads. These are my teachers. These are the comrades. This is the grassroots movement. And I just want people to understand that anything that I'm saying, it comes from this resistance. This is Josue Merilien, one of the most well-known union organizers, a Haitian intellectual. Surely half the people that are watching this from the left are going to say, well, Josue Merilien back in 2008 did this and did that. I mean, look, man, the Haitians need to sort out their own leadership issues, man. When we're that's not coming back on me. So what my role, what did I do from 1998 You know, and I wasn't in Haiti for like, you know, big lapses because of all the other international work and fighting against police brutality. But what I've tried to do for 26 years is listen to the Haitian people and sort these things out in my head. So the question of barbecue was hot on everyone's tongue in 2021. February 7th, there's this massive revolutionary movement. I mean, that 2021 February 7th moment, which I had the incredible privilege of being a part of, Garland, we're talking about millions and millions and millions of Haitians, of grandmothers and grandfathers and grandchildren and Catholics and voodooisants, voodoo practitioners. Because in Haiti, you can be a Catholic, but then get your voodoo in too. People want these neat little complex formulations that are completely antithetical to Haitian reality, which is completely dialectical. So being in the milieu of this massive movement, I was there in February 2021. I was there in March. I was there in April. I was there in June. I was on, I think, the second to last plane that left the country when Jovenel Moïse got when the petty tyrant got assassinated. But the Haitian people, it hurt. You know, it hurt because the Haitian people, millions in the diaspora as well, they were in the streets against Jovenel Moïse, no different than us in the streets against Biden, against Trump, against Tweedledee, Tweedledum. But do we really want to assassinate one of those individuals? Well, I'm sure many people do and have swore that up and down, you know, but our goal really is to put those individuals, you know, behind proletarian bars, behind the people's bars. And that was the goal of the Haitian movement in 2021 until July 7th, the assassination of Jovenel Moïse. The movement, its head, it's decapitated. A movement of millions, a revolutionary moment, or at least a pre-revolutionary moment, to use the scientific definitions laid out by the Bolsheviks. They're on the brink of a revolution. They didn't want to assassinate the president. They wanted to imprison him as a people's political prisoner. That's snatched away from them by Colombian paramilitaries in coordination with U.S. intelligence departments and the DEA, who doesn't coordinate with the CIA because they have different agendas. And then we got to talk about Guy Philippe. So again, it's just so complex to unpack all of this that some people are so arrogant to think that they can make this or that documentary to somehow summarize centuries and centuries of struggle and boil it all down. And, that cannot be my approach, because that's not the approach of the Haitian people who live these realities every day.
You know what's interesting, and that is the connection of these things. So I got a very interesting lesson last week. I spent the last week in the Caribbean. I was in Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, St. John's, etc. Right, and I got a lesson that I think is connected to Haiti, because what's going on in Haiti is the legacy of slavery in the Caribbean, right? It's the legacy of, the French abuse of the Caribbean. Haiti was the jewel of the Caribbean. It was the money generator for France. These gigantic, they grew everything there, a lot of sugar, etc. Okay, but it wasn't just Haiti. So I was in St. John, and what did I see? Traveling around St. John, St. Thomas, I went to this old abandoned sugar plantation. And they had the signs there. This is where the enslaved people worked. That's what they called them. The enslaved Africans worked here. And then the parts of it were like there. This is where there was a windmill that they generated power to grind up the sugar cane. This is where the big pots were that they heated it, and you got to walk around and see pictures of the slaves doing this and the slave quarters and all that stuff. So you got to put your feet on and walk around what this thing was all about in the Caribbean. Slaves, sugar, money, going back to France, right? Okay. Or whichever country had, Denmark, whoever the hell it was that had the particular island. Okay. So I see this. Then I go back down to St. Thomas. And what do I see? I see the Black people who were the descendants of those slaves, right? These were the descendants of those, no question, the slaves who were beaten and enslaved, making their great-great-great-grandchildren are all over the place, right, on this island. And they're poor. They're very poor. They don't have much. The jobs they have, like at the resort I was staying in different places, they're cleaning, they're cutting grass, they got a machete and they're chopping weeds and vines away from the edge. They're doing the hard grunt work. I talk to people, they're like, yeah, I used to work on one of these, the what do you call it? The ships that come through, the cruise ships. Yeah, I used to work on the cruise ships, but they treat you like crap. They pay you next to nothing. The tips, you're not allowed, you can be fired. They have these envelopes for tips in the rooms. People don't know this. I found this out from talking to the people on the island. The tips go to the company, go to the ships. If you are caught keeping those tips that are left in the room, you get fired. So they said, yeah, I worked on there, but it's just like, they just usually use the word, it's slavery. Right. So you look and I'm like, so what do you guys do? Now I go there, right? And the tourists, there's, how it is in St. Thomas, St. John's, big money, mansions on the hills all over the place. Walk around, every shop is Rolex, Prada, Diamond, you know what I mean? Big, big, big money there. People literally fly in there to buy jewelry and all the, $10, $20, $50,000 bracelets, rings. Okay. And I'm looking and what I see is, people are like, oh, slavery was hundreds of years ago. Today, right now, you go there. The descendants of the slaves are all very, very poor and still working in slave-like conditions for next to nothing. The white people or some black people like me from the States are over there. I'm just a middle-class guy, but to them, I'm rich. You know what I mean? To them, compared with their economic, just a middle-class person from here, compared economic to them is like a billionaire, but there's lots of money. You go to St. John's, nothing but money, movie stars, home. I'm looking out literally over there. And one of the guys like, see that island? I'm like, yeah. He's like, that is Epstein Island. I'm like, holy crap, that's Epstein Island. That's right there. There's Epstein Islands. You can't unsee that. But to me, again, it represents, you got these people people are like, always want to act like it was so long ago. Right now in the Caribbean, right now on St. John, in St. Thomas. Well, they don't get the poor black folks can't even live on St. John. Forget that, it's too expensive. They can catch a ferry over there and work and clean houses and go back, right? But it's the same slavery dynamic. It's still sitting there all over the Caribbean. Haiti is the most pronounced example of it because the Haitian people overthrew, the slave owners, so they got to be punished forever. But it's all throughout the Caribbean. This is still going on. Anyway, your thoughts on all of that, Danny?
Well, I just need a deep breath after. You just dropped it right there, and I just want to recognize, every word you said is so on point. Unfortunately, you just offered a portrait of 2024, the Caribbean. Except for Cuba, who resists every day, and look how they're punished. 1959 was 1804 for the Cubans. It was the Cuban Revolution, and they continue to be blockaded and starved because they're they're in solidarity with the legacy of the Haitian Revolution. What you laid out there reminded me of my last night in Port-au-Prince. It must have been now about 7 weeks ago. And again, just to present some images here so people can feel for themselves, this reality. This was my last night in Haiti. And if you look closely, you know that, you mentioned the sugar cane. Well, don't forget the clan. Don't forget what comes from that sugar cane, the moonshine. And
rum, a lot of rum.
Oh, the rum and the homemade moonshine clan, because when people are hungry, when enslaved colonized people are hungry, often it's that shot of rum that gets them through the day. So this was my last night there, and I published an article for Truth Out. Shout out to Truth Out for the anti-colonial editors and writers that they have. Haitian community defenders fight U.S. armed death squads and public governments. Here's Molly Goff and all of their comrades. Che Guevara right next to Jean-Jacques Dessalines. And I want to respond to what you were saying, really through the words of Ezaï. Ezaï is one of the great Haitian leaders that we have. I mean, it's not just the leadership of the Haitians; it's the international anti-imperialist leadership. That's Ezaïe leading a protest. So me and Ezaïe, we're walking through Solino. Solino, after Cité Soleil, is the second biggest community in all of Port-au-Prince, and they're on the barricades. I just want people to appreciate when we talk about barricades, what are we actually talking about? I have a video here. I'm not going to play the whole video, but people should, they built this. These are the barricades. They had to build these barricades to keep the paramilitaries out, and then they have their own self-defense. They call it Bois Calais. That was the name of the movement that exploded to defend themselves against the paramilitaries. I just want to take everybody to the barricades so you can appreciate how intense this is. This is a report that I did at the barricades. It's going to kind of give you a long view. So all of the documentation is out there. I've been censored, shadow banned, delisted on Twitter, but this is where I've tried to do it. So behind these barricades is where you have these paramilitary, they call it a projet la mort, a death project. And the Haitian people understand very clearly that these paramilitaries, these death squads, gangs, no one should be using the word gangs. That makes no sense. Everyone knows what a gang is. You know, a gang got beef here, someone was murdered, someone sold some weed, whatever. That's a gang. All right, great. We're talking about almost 1 million illegal automatic U.S. weapons and Israeli Galils flooded throughout Haiti. We're talking about Haiti as a transshipment point for, I think, hundreds of millions, if not more, billions. Now, to get the actual journalistic proof, the investigative journalism, I'm not trying to go out like Jean-Dominique and be, assassinated just yet, but I've gone to the ports. There's all types of drugs coming through. There's no Haitian Coast Guard. According to the Haitian government, there's one functioning, Haitian Coast Guard ship. So it's an easy transshipment point with the connivance, with the collusion of the Haitian oligarchy. Who's trapped in the middle? It's the people trapped in the middle. So we're there in Solino. It's a Saturday night. I'm coming back if I can get to the airport the next day because the roads are shut down. Sometimes they're shut down by the paramilitary. Sometimes they're shut down by clashes where the paramilitaries are murdering the population. The population's trying to resist. And this all comes back to the portrait of the Caribbean that you painted. We're going through a stroll, and the comrades have to, quote unquote, inspect the barricades. They got to go to barricade to barricade. The barricades are woman and man. They need food. Because if the barricades, if the comrades who have the night shift from, say, 10 p.m. until 6 a.m. when everyone wakes up, if they're manning and womaning the barricades at night, if they haven't ate, the probability that they could fall asleep or get drunk from the clarin. So, this is the everyday work of a revolutionary. So I'm shadowing him, and once you're down with the revolutionaries, this is a passport through any hood. So they bringing me everywhere, and we sit down and we enjoy a Prestige. Prestige is the Haitian national beer. I'm sure it's owned by some oligarch, but one or two tastes good on a humid Saturday night. We all got our contradictions, just like us there in Caracas at 4 a.m. When we came back that night. So me and Ezaïe sit down, and to have a Prestige, to have a beer is an enormous privilege. It costs the equivalent of like $1.50, which is, if people have access to $1.50 in Port-au-Prince, then they're probably kind of more on the middle class side. If people, $1.50 US for one day would probably mean some, or you have family outside the country, then you probably get a little more. I mean, Haiti's really dependent on remittances. That's the colonial dependence theory that comes out of the 1970s and everything. So me and Ezaïe are sitting down, and there's like, 10 dudes posted up here and 10 there, and there's some compa music. At this point, it's almost midnight. And I look around, and I see about 40 Haitian men drinking moonshine. It's called Bois Cochon, which would be translated as pig's wood. All the moonshine got its little hood names and stuff.
Right.
And you can get a little shot of moonshine for the equivalent of maybe 8 cents or 13 cents. And I look around, and no one can even afford a beer. No one can afford to eat. And they just surviving. If that's, and Ezaïe, the leader that I just showed, Ezaïe looked at me and he said, if this isn't slavery, what is slavery. So every word that you said, Garland, magnify that times 1,000, and you all will understand that Haiti in 2024, it might as well be 1492 when Columbus, the first tourist, the first rapist, was lost and bumped into Mole St. Nicholas and claimed that for the Spanish Empire. And 532 years later, the Haitian people are still trying to figure out, this colonial madness, because it's a colonial reality, and it's slavery. It supports.
Well, let me tell you, I because wherever I go, I like to talk to the people, and I talked to a guy that worked, got to be good friends with a guy that worked on the resort where I was staying, and he was nice, great young guy, strong, good looking, smart. I mean, a guy that looked like he could have the whole world. I talked to him. He was well read. He was knowledgeable. You know what I mean? I'm like, there's a guy that could have the world in front, and I'm like, so. Tell me, what do you do? He says, man, there ain't nothing to do. He said, we smoke weed, we drink some rum or something, and we work. He said, there ain't nothing else to do on this island for us. Basically, us meaning, the poor black folks. Now, if you're the wealthy white tourist and all that, there's everything in the world for you. Nightlife, restaurants, you name it. The other thing that was interesting, something that you said about money. I didn't realize just how bad it was at first when I realized they're getting paid little. Then I went in stores. Like you said, about $15 a gallon. Imagine the little bit they're making. A box of cereal. This is, anybody don't believe me? Go to St. Thomas. Go to the to the grocery stores. A box of cereal. I'm like, I'm gonna get a box of cereal and have it in my room. I can eat that if I'm, and wake up in the morning, I'm hungry. $9 for a little freaking box of cereal that's $4 or $5 here. And I opened it. It was stale. And I mentioned to the guy, he's like, yeah, a lot of the stuff that they ship into the island is like old. So, they'll just change the stamp date on it and ship it into us. And then, we get, so because I mentioned, I said, yeah, I paid $9. It was stale. And he was like, ha, ha, ha. He's like, we don't know what that means, because we wouldn't know what getting a box of cereal that isn't stale was. So they're sending them the old stuff. You know what I mean? It's for as little as they make. The prices are ungodly. I think to myself, geez, I couldn't afford to live on this I couldn't be buying groceries for what you people, you know what I mean? $6 for a dozen eggs. It was more expensive than you go to New York, you go to Frisco, you go to LA. None of them are half as expensive as it is in the Caribbean, in these small islands for these people. So it's just the level of impoverishment. The deliberate impoverishment. And that's why I go back to today. There's different degrees of slavery. You know what I mean? You can make the argument that in capitalism, the ultimate slavery is you don't pay anything. Let me give you a real quick example, because I've studied the pre-Civil War and post-Civil War times a lot. Harriet Beecher Stowe comes out with a book, right? Uncle Tom's Cabin, and the Southern planters are really pissed off about it. A lot of people don't know this. So a new genre of books actually comes out to push back from the South. One of them was called The Northern Planter's Bride. It was really the first American Western attack on capitalism, right? And here's what they argued. They said, yeah, you say we're bad because we have slaves, right? And we treat our slaves bad. Notwithstanding the argument they made, here's what they said. But look at you. What are you doing to the white people in the North? Aren't they slaves? You build a factory. You build a factory town. You make them work long hours in dangerous times. Then you take all their money at the end of the month. They owe all the money to the company store. But basically what they were making an argument unknowingly is there's various degrees of slavery in capitalism. There's the ultimate continued degree of slavery. That is, you have nothing, you're beaten, whipped, and no rights. But I think what we also look at is along that continuum is a kind of slavery that says you have the illusion of freedom. You have a job, you have the illusion, but they make prices so high that you don't even get enough to survive. So you're still underwater in survival. You know what I mean? So there's various degrees of slavery. I think that's what we're talking about. When people think of slavery, they only think of the ultimate degree of slavery in capitalism. But I think we're talking about is there other degrees of slavery in the Caribbean, they're experiencing a closer degree of slavery to the most extreme. Even here, we are experiencing a degree of slavery. That's what, to me, what capitalism is about, keeping people in the lowest degree of slavery that it possibly can. And Americans don't understand that Haiti is important because that's what's being done to them. We are moving in that direction. And you got to stop that. At any rate, your thoughts on all of that, Danny?
I mean, I don't know where to begin. I feel like we need a show just called Anti-Colonial Ethnography with Garland Nixon and just keep you traveling as an internationalist. And then when you spoke, I'm not sure who's read the Manning Marable. Dr. Manning Marable was a professor of mine. Certainly, I don't agree with all of his conclusions, but he wrote The Reinvention of Malcolm X. And I feel like on the horizons, there's an autobiography out there called The Reinvention of Garland Nixon, which I'm going to definitely want to pick up. So I'd love to hear your ideological, journey one day. I feel like you're somebody who's always questioning and always growing. And that's my motto. I show up in these different countries. I always say I'm armed with 1,000 questions. And I always got my little pen and notebook, and I'm trying to get, immerse myself in that Cape Verdean language or that Brazilian favela dialectic or dialect or whatever it is. What spoke to me when you spoke, Garland, just the humiliation of the stale serial anecdote. In Haiti, it's not uncommon for the Dominican commercial sector. When I talk about the Dominican Republic, I'm not talking about the everyday people. I'm talking about Dominican oligarchs and the Dominican generals who've always been complicit in the colonization of Haiti since the 1973 Trujillo massacre, the Massacre de Perejil. But just the humiliation of that stale cereal. And to bring it back to Gaza, I put out this book, This is Genocide. And what you see on the front, I insisted upon using this image because across Gaza, talk to Max Blumenthal, talk to the journalists who've been over there. When you go to Gaza, and way prior to October 7th, just like that young man who said, we smoke weed and we get by. That's what colonization is. It defuturizes. And how many of these beautiful young children, these are not just Gaza's children that are dying, that are humiliated, that are genocided, that are holocausted. These are humanity's children. This is humanity's treasure chest. We all have a responsibility. Those that haven't spoken up on Gaza, look deep into your soul. We got to be, I'm a man of God. I'm a man of conviction. Like I can't be quiet. I don't care how many times they fire me and threaten me and dox me. But this right here, this image to me, all of these craters in generations of Palestinians who come of age next to craters from the U.S. bunker busting bombs, as Biden today says, we have to talk to Netanyahu again. Netanyahu's just gone too far. So it's all Netanyahu's fault, right? 76 years of genocide falls on one individual. So now they're going to bring us Benny Gantz or whatever other genocide there and act like things have changed. But the Cubans always say, la vergüenza que nos motiva. It is the colonial humiliation that forces us to organize and stand up. And it's no secret at this point. I was fired last week. I was fired after 18 years by President Carol Mason at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. I don't know where the justice is because, I'm ashamed. And they fired me. They didn't even have a conversation with me. Carol Mason, 18 years of service, didn't have the time to come sit down with me. And I think it's important, too, for the public to know that these Zionists, these cowards, they threaten my life. They threaten my family. They dox me. Every day they call me a Nazi. Every day, it's a blood libel. We're going to kill you. These people are cowards. These people are absolute cowards. Now, it's not to say that they can't do, 1 million horrific things. I'm not underestimating their extremism, that brainwashing. And the sociologists have to do the work to compare 1941 German society to Israeli society in 2023. That sociological comparison has to be done. And we have the greats. We have Norman Finkelstein, and we have so many different Palestinian intellectuals. I mean, I was schooled, my old professor, Rashid Halidi, shout out to Rashid Halidi. He was my professor of modern Middle Eastern history in grad school. And all the history is there for those who have the courage to dive in. It's so much easier to tune out. So when we say that Haiti is the Palestine of the Caribbean, it's precisely that. And I thank you for making all of these anti-colonial connections. I heard about your trip down to the Caribbean. Beverly was telling me, and I was just feeling the envy because we had so much rain and flooding in the Bronx. I was like, Garland forgot about me again, man.
Well, I tell you why it's important. There are a lot of people that'll listen to this stuff and they'll say, that's the Caribbean. Here's what they want you to understand, to think in America. They want you to feel, I'm in the empire, so I'm here, I'm safe. I got it made, and I can look down and say, those people over there, they got it rough. It's their own fault, whatever. But here's what I have to say. Okay, I go to St. Thomas. You go to Port-au-Prince, and you see the most extreme version of it. You see these people who are impoverished. Most people don't know this. You go up on the hill, there's gigantic mansions with swimming pools and heliports with landing their helicopters. There's billionaires, oligarchs in Haiti. People don't know that are running things, that are financing these murderous gangs, etc., right? That are the puppets of the U.S. imperialists. Okay, so you've got that contrast between the poorest of the poor and the richest of the rich, right? Okay. I go to St. Thomas, and what do I see? All of these black folks, 71% black on that island. I see all these poor black folks who are maybe sweeping or gotten the lowest possible jobs they can possibly get. And then I see wealth, and, like I said, you walk down the street, there's nothing but Rolex and Prada, just diamond and gold and watch, everything shops up and down the street, right? So I see this contrast between a poor, most extreme in Haiti. Maybe a little less extreme or less extreme in Port-au-Prince. Here's my point. To the Americans that are like, well, that's that place, that's this and that. Go to San Francisco now. What do you see? You know what I mean? Go to San Francisco. Go right now. What do you see? Go downtown. 100 homeless people, mentally ill, desperate, addicted to drugs out of people. They're addicted to drugs. Why? Why are they addicted to drugs and alcohol? Out of pain and hunger and desperation. I call it crimes of desperation, right? A friend of mine runs a grocery store. I'm not going to give the name of it, right? And he says, what's interesting is the kind of theft that they have now. He says, when I first started, people would steal candy bars or something they could sell or whatever, right? He says, now they're stealing baby formula. They're stealing diapers. They're stealing things that they need for their family out of desperation, right? So my point is, you feel like you're safe in America. That's the direction that we're going. It goes from Haiti. And next thing you know, you're in San Francisco, and you're in New York. Next thing you know, you're in your community. In the area that I live, middle class, suburbs outside of Baltimore, right? Up until a few years ago, I never saw a homeless person. You know what I mean? These are cookie cutter communities in this area, the suburbs of Maryland, right? I didn't know what it was to see a homeless person. You would never see. You see a few in Baltimore. Never in this area had you ever seen a homeless person. Now I can take you to a place not all that far from here where there's a woods area where they got a bunch of camps with tents with homeless people. That stuff didn't happen. So my point being, people who look at Haiti and see the contrast between the 99.9% of extreme poverty and 0.01% of wealth have to understand it's important to you, and you have to deal with it there, because that's what's coming here. That's what's growing here. And if you turn your back on it, at some point you're going to wake up and that's what you'll be living. Danny.
Ooh, yeah, straight fire right there. I just came back from the Midwest. Actually, I was out there with Midwestern Marks. Midwestern Marks Institute's doing amazing work in what they call Trump country. I was looking for a book here in the stacks called Deaths of Despair, which is all about the white working class, the European descendant working class who's supposed to be integrated into this, whole American dream, and all these deaths of despair, the heroin epidemic and the fentanyl and the oxycodone. And I come out of that, reality. It's no secret that I had to overcome all my own demons to be seated here today. And I say that with an incredible amount of working class chauvinism. The fact that I even made it out of that reality is a miracle unto itself. So I gotta just be super grateful and keep it humble. This book right here is a real good one. Strangers in Their Own Land. It looks at all of this alienation and how the American dream is an absolute fallacy. Of course, it's built up on the negation of the Haitian dream and the Palestinian dream and Palestinian life itself. So how do we organize with these alienated sectors? Because I wrote a piece for our friends at Counterpunch for the new year, and it was a Marxist overview of these random shootings. Last year, we had some 675 mass shootings in this country. Those are mostly, like 90% is the demographic. These are the facts. This is not me superimposing my ideas. 90% of them shooters are these disaffected, alienated, young, white males, who sometimes older white males as well. And they're right to be angry. But why are you angry at Mexicans? Why are you angry at Asians? Why are you angry at Chinese? The quarrel, to quote, Muhammad Ali, I don't have no quarrel with the Vietnamese. I don't have no quarrel with the Haitians. But out in the Midwest, it's that false consciousness, over and over. When I sat down in Wisconsin, when I sat down in Kansas, and there's these incredible Teamster organizers out there in St. Louis, and Kyle's organizing out there, just really good organizers doing incredible work in Trump country. I couldn't believe when they introduced me to certain workers and contacts, the xenophobia, the anti-immigrant hysteria. And I heard from family members in not my own blood family, but family members of close friends and journalists and leaders. And the whole thesis out there, I heard this over and over. So it must come from One American News Network or Breitbart or Fox or whatever. I kept hearing we need watchtowers on the border. We need to put the mafia in the watchtowers to kill the Mexicans and kill the Central Americans. I mean, that's what people are thinking. People don't have any way of feeling any compassion towards the Haitian journey, or the Haitian or the Guatemalan Odyssey, or the exodus from Honduras. So we in dehumanizing others, we dehumanize ourselves. Garland, let's do a little trivia for your crowd. What percentage of people in the United States, what percentage of U.S. citizens, I hate to use that word, but just for this question, what percentage of U.S. citizens own a passport?
30?
Yeah. It's in that range. It's about 1 in 3. So you have a $25 trillion economy, but we couldn't be more disconnected from humanity. And that's why I say I'm the luckiest, human being on earth, because I was able to stay in Southern Africa. I was able to stay with the comrades in Kenya who are mobilizing right now in Nairobi. And they've been mobilizing since for the past 2 years, because the U.S. has been hell-bent on this fourth invasion and occupation of Haiti. In their new strategy, Garland, just like the British Empire would use Indian troops to go occupy Africa, and the French Empire would use Senegalese troops to do their dirty work in another colony. The new Biden model, if you will, with the Global Fragility Act and all of this, these acts they're trying to introduce, they're going to give the $333 million to the Kenyans. But now the Kenyans are saying no, because Kenyan society has revolted. The Kenyans are saying, but the police kill us here, so we're going to send these corrupt colonial trained police to go kill Haitians. So shout out to Africa Stream. Shout out to all of our comrades in Kenya who have now stopped this Kenya's participation in this invasion on several occasions. So just to quote Pablo Neruda in the 1970s as a poet, he wrote, the gringos, the imperialists, are going to give the guns, and the Puerto Ricans and the Native Americans and the poor whites and the black soldiers give their lives and their blood in the genocide against Vietnam. 5 million Koreans killed. That wasn't the Korean War. That was the U.S. war of aggression against the Korean fatherland, homeland, as in the DPRK. We don't even learn the names of the wars correctly, much less what happened. So what was my last point?
There's so much going on, but it is critical, I think. I think I think it's critical for people to understand the connections between Haiti and Palestine, the connections between what's going on in San Francisco, what's going on in various parts of the world, and that to ignore these things and then wake up. See, here's what happens. Oh, who cares about what's going on in Haiti, Palestine, wherever? But then they wake up and say, man, how come things are so expensive for me? Here's a good example. How come there's all these immigrants at the border, right? Oh, we got too many immigrants. Let me tell you a quick story. A friend of mine, this is some years ago, we talked about this. His father passed away, and his father, was older and was living, by himself, and then they eventually took care of him. And the bottom line is, at some point, his father had a brain tumor. He was in his 80s, passed away. Okay. When they're cleaning the stuff at the house, they went in his bedroom and they found a drawer with nothing but stuff for headaches. Right? Apparently, he'd been having headaches for many, many years, and he'd just been taking, Excedrin, whatever for the headache, and never went to get checked to find out that he had a brain tumor. He eventually died. That's the way I see it. We're looking at this like it's a headache. You know what I mean? Oh, we got to get rid of Trump. We got to get rid of Biden. Oh, we got to, this is the one that kills me. We need to get rid of all the people in Congress and bring new people in Congress, as if that's going to fix it, right? It's always something that we want to take a pill to address the headache, right? Okay, what is the headache? There's a million immigrants at the border. That's the headache. What is the brain tumor? U.S. imperialism trying to overthrow Nicaragua, trying to overthrow Venezuela, trying to overthrow Cuba, trying to overthrow Haiti. So they convince us to be angry at the results of imperialism. The results are those people in desperation standing at the border. The issue is, you and I saw it. Here's something I believe. You can't understand America unless you go to Syria or Venezuela or Cuba. You see the results. When you go to Venezuela, we've been to Venezuela at the worst of it. When you land at the airport, there ain't a plane leaving or taking off. You go on the streets are just about empty because nobody's got money for gas. And people are riding around on a motorcycle with an old part that they got from the junkyard, hoping to sell it out of desperation, owning a country filthy rich in resources. But the U.S. empire, through its machination, has impoverished the people because it wants to steal those resources. You can't understand America unless you go to Haiti or Caracas or wherever and see the results of U.S. imperialism. That's the only way to understand truly what America is. You can't see it here, even though bit by bit, it's starting to eat away and people are starting to feel that pain. But not having gone there, they don't see what's coming for them, and they don't understand really what this monster is. Danny.
Yeah, there's so much there. I mean, how do we draw these international connections? Because in this country, we've been socialized to hate the Syrians and hate the Iranians, and then when I go to these countries, people have so much admiration for the U.S. because globalization was never globalization. It was gringoization. It was imperialism with a new buzzword, like they always do. But like the NBA, like I remember watching the NBA finals back when Jordan was just getting rings, year after year. And we were watching Jordan light up the Utah Jazz. And all of a sudden the electricity just goes out. And we didn't even know who won the game for like another 48 hours. It was crazy. It didn't take that long. But, the point being that the U.S. exports so much culture. And that's a necessary part of imperialism as well. I don't think people in the U.S. could ever understand some of the anecdotes that you share. Is because you just came back and you were feet on the ground, ethnography, shoulder to shoulder, building with the people. But so many of our people don't get off the cruise ships. They just go to Cancun, and then they say, well, I was in Mexico. No, you weren't in Mexico. You were in a colonial enclave of a colonized country called Mexico. You didn't see Mexico. You had Mexicans waiting on you. You didn't see Mexicans as true, equal human beings. I always told my students, well, ex-students now, Wilmer, shout out to Wilmer, our brother Wilmer, on the air the other day. He introduced me as an ex-professor. I almost started with a few little teardrops, but we're gonna keep fighting. We got a whole legal team, and there's been a ton of solidarity. Shout out to the Black Alliance for Peace and the Solidarity Committee, and shout out to all the movement builders out here. I think this is a moment of maximum unity for Palestine. We don't need to have this or that demo, then another demo. We need to have one demo. How can we set aside our quarrels, set aside the sectarianism, set aside, what happened back in 1990, whatever, or before I was born? How can we make this movement non-sectarian to transcend these petty divisions? Because that's what, you've laid out this social portrait of the Caribbean. If we're up against imperialism, if we're up against Zionism, we can't afford to be bickering among one another. So I think it's an opportune movement to moment to continue to build the subjective factor across the world. It hurt me a lot as the genocide advanced, because I have quote unquote leftist friends in Germany and in England and in France and in the US. And I don't know what to say. They just really showed their whiteness, their Westernness, their backwardness. And they said, we don't even want to talk to you about this. How can you embrace Hamas? And this is after like months and months had gone by. People unfollowed me. People wouldn't talk to me. So we once again, we know exactly what people would have done from 1941 to 1945 as the Holocaust marched across Europe into the Soviet Union. And the way they manipulate the history of the Holocaust as well, we always hear about the 6 million Jewish sisters and brothers who perished in the furnaces. As well, we should. That's so important. But the 27 million Soviets who lost their lives, all the Russians and Ukrainians and Georgians and Uzbeks, are they less than
20 million Chinese, I think, were killed when the Japanese imperialist invasion?
And then the 6 million socialists and the Roma people and feminist leaders and
gay people they killed, Jehovah's Witnesses they killed, anybody.
Like teach the children the truth. And when we call these people Babylon, it's in the spirit of Bob Marley, who said this is a Babylon system. And to see the work you're doing, this is popular education. And what Dr. Walter Rodney, the Guyanese, revolutionary intellectual, taught us is it's not what you do inside the classroom. And my classrooms were always open classrooms. I always told my classrooms, you got a cousin, you got somebody down and out who wants to learn this. This information is for everybody. So there was always like bring a family member, bring a brother, bring a sister, bring a cousin, bring a compadre day, because so many of my students at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, they trying to live that American dream. Then they come into a course like mine where I'm trying to expose them to all the incredible thinkers that we have out here. And that's precisely why they want to get rid of critical educators. Shout out to Lisa. I wasn't the only one fired. I'm just the most recent educator at CUNY. At John Jay College of Criminal Justice that they have fired. They went after my colleague Lisa, who has a heck of a story to tell. They went after our brother Jairo in Texas just because we're anti-colonial. I mean, how long, Garland? How long can they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? That's not even what I was going to ask, to quote Bob Marley. How long can they censor us like this? They took out my entire Twitter account. People can't find me on Twitter. I'm still there, but they can just push a button, call you a Nazi, put you in the KKK group, call you a skinhead as they call me every day, and just disappear you from social media. And then Elon Musk talks about we defend free speech and Biden, and they're taking out TikTok. I mean, and it feels like the Democratic establishment is doing everything they can to pave the way for a second Trump presidency.
Yeah, because ultimately the ruling elite doesn't care. They don't care if it's Trump or Biden. You know what I mean? The ruling elite, it doesn't matter to them if it's Trump or Biden. They have their preferences, but in the end, they're going to get what they want. I also think it's important to understand. I put it like this. If you ever read, and I recommend people a book, I love to read, right? I don't have my books back here, called The Sociopath Next Door. Important book. And one of the things they talk about is an example of a sociopath, right? And if you think of a person who's out in the street and they're getting in fights and they can't get along with people and they're arguing and they're fussing with everybody around them, right? And when they come home and they got kids, you think they're going to be any different than them? You think they're going to come home and be gentle and kind? No. The sociopath doesn't give a damn about anybody in the street. and they come home and they don't give a damn about anybody in their own house. You know, it's like addiction. A person who's addiction, it's a very selfish thing, right? We've all had family members and friends, and some of us have suffered from addiction, right? It's a very selfish thing. And the person who's in that mindset, they don't give a damn about people in the street or people at home, right? Why do I say that? If you look at what the U.S. empire is doing in Palestine, the brutality, the psychopathic nature of slaughtering men, women, and children. I always say this. You look at what they did in the war on terror overseas, and now they're bringing it here, whether it's censorship, all the things. Now they're saying homegrown terrorism, right? Domestic terrorism. That's so they can take all of the things that they use to go after the Muslim people and use them to go after us, the people who are just dissenting against U.S. imperialism. Understand that the violence and brutality that you see against the Palestinians at some point, when people look at Cop City, things like that, when people in America stand up and say, well, we've had enough. This is crazy, man. We can't afford anything. You know, the government, we can't even vote. We got no rights or anything. That same violence and brutality that the sociopath uses in the street, they'll use at home. And the same violence and brutality and indiscriminate murder and slaughter that they use against the Palestinians, people don't believe this, they will use against the people in America. They have done it before. You think of what was the college where they shot the students down in the
Kent State, Jackson State.
They will not hesitate to do that right here in America to people. So it's critical, even if you don't know anything about the Palestinians or what's going on there, to understand that the things that they do there, they will damn sure do against you. That the sociopath that'll do that over here will do it over here. That will do that over there will do that right here to you.
And that's why on Al-Quds Day, we got to be in the streets for Palestine. There's big actions. Anybody in New York City, we're going to be out there with Palestinian youth movement and within our lifetime and all these different, Palestinian leadership that's under the gun. I think we have to stop and take a deep breath and just recognize, like, these Palestinian youth leaders. And can you imagine the amount of trauma inflicted upon them? How do they, if I can't sleep at night, I mean, that's your nation, that's your nationhood, that's your self-determination, that's your ancestors. For people to tell you that this flag is not real, that you're not true, human beings, and what Zionism has done, one of the greatest crimes of the 20th century and the 21st century. Yeah, when I hang out with you, Garland, I'm always taking notes. I had to write down How to Hide an Empire, The Northern Planter's Guide, The Sociopath Next Door. It's kind of like hanging out with my boy Caleb. Like, Caleb always dropping. Caleb come out of left field with this book and that book that I never heard of. And I just got to say, the bibliophiles, the dialecticians who are really doing it, just a shout out, because it's a lot of hard work, and people want shortcuts to revolution. People want shortcuts to throwing back, all these books that take years and decades to process. And that brings us back to the second Haitian Revolution, which, we can't oversimplify it. We can't package it up all neat in the English language for people to think that barbecue is going to usher in the second Haitian Revolution. Because for me as an ethnographer, for me as someone who's just there listening and questioning, I mean, overwhelmingly, the Haitian people throughout the ghettos of Port-au-Prince and throughout the Haitian countryside and in the north and in the south, there's a deep, deep distrust of barbecue. They say that barbecue is a jolet or a bluffer. That's a bluffer or a big talker. And they say, well, if this dude's talking so much, how come all the bullets are directed at us? What has he ever actually defended? When has he actually ever done something against the oligarchs' interests? So I think that is, maybe there's a time to just focus on that one question, because we covering, so much ground. But I want to come back to this image here, which is a special image. I'm going to share it from over here. These are the Irish comrades. Shout out to Laser Derg. I don't speak Irish, but I should keep the ancestral legacy alive. I have gone to Irish classes with the comrades, but so yeah, for a United Socialist Republic of Ireland. So yeah, this is Timarc Sis. This is one of the great Haitian revolutionaries. He lost one of his arms, in the streets against the police, but he's stronger than ever. He's saying there that Moligaf, everyone check out Moligaf. Shout out to David Oxygen. I was on the phone. Again, everything I'm saying about Haiti, it's coming from the Haitian people. I'm not over here on my own figuring out any of this. I'm just a good listener. But if I deserve credit for anything, I listen to a lot of Creole, almost every day. And Creole is such a beautiful language. You know how many people out here opining about Haiti? They don't even know the language of Haiti. And all these other experts who don't even speak the language of Haiti. But that was an article, a tribute to Moligaf, and I was in the trenches with these comrades, and I was just listening. And one day I was in, a year later or a year ago, whenever it was, I was live on Dominican radio. Radio is still huge, especially in Haiti, because if you don't have electricity and internet, what else do you have? So They call it telejol. When you hear it from like your neighbor's mouth, that's one way you get news, and you got the radios everywhere. So radio is huge in Haiti, but we were on the radio in DR, and they were asking me about barbecue over and over. So I got David Oxygen. I was like, well, don't ask me. I'm just the messenger. Let's go right to the source. So we called David Oxygen in the ghettos of Port-au-Prince and the Moligaf leadership, and they're multilingual. They speak Spanish and English and French and the colonial languages from all the occupations. And he's screaming into the phone live on Dominican radio that to say somehow, and Daoud Andre did a whole show about this yesterday that everyone should listen to, but it's in Creole. We need translators. One of the greatest services, people could render is just to help us translate and get out Haitian voices. Why is this entire conversation being dominated by people who speak English? We did a conference with Black Alliance for Peace, but again, when you don't have electricity, when you don't have microphones, so Moligaf, hashtag Moligaf, all the donations, all the people solidarity is going to go towards providing a platform so that the Haitian people can speak for themselves. They don't need anyone to interpret their desires. So David Oxygen, the Secretary General of Moligaf, is screaming out in Spanish live on Dominican radio that to say, in a nation of so many doctors and lawyers and humility and the sons and daughters of Dessalines and so many honest leaders, some who are exiled, some who are murdered, some who are disappeared, some who are like my compadre, like I'm the godfather of his children. He's still a political prisoner, Braulio Vargas, who I've known since 1997, 1998. This is family. These are people I've come of age with. And people can read my book on the Dominican Republic, The Saints of Santo Domingo, Dominican Resistance in the Age of Neocolonialism. And David Oxygen is shouting out live on the radio, what an insult for outsiders to try to impose upon us who our leaders are. We Haitian people know who our leaders are. So the amount of ideological muddle-headedness that's out there right now in the English-speaking world on Haiti, and this is what Moligaf was explaining, because they're their own ideologues and theorists. They were saying, we're used to all of the attacks coming from the right, coming from the Dixiecrats and the Republicans, but to actually have all of this ideological confusion also coming from quote-unquote Marxists is something that they feel is unforgivable. So I think it's important to continue to dialectically, in a nuanced way, visit these very sensitive questions. And again, a lot of people will, stick a mic in my face and say, well, where's the proof? Well, where's the proof? I don't want to, you don't want to put Haitian people's lives in danger.
Right.
And it's important to say all the stuff about the National Endowment for Democracy and the RDA, all these different human rights mechanisms, and Pierre Esperance. I think the acronym in Creole and French is RDNNHR. I messed it up. But these fake human rights outfits, no question they receive money. That's what they call full spectrum domination. Guy Philippe connected to imperialism. But Jimmy Chirizia, all these massive guns, you think those guns came from the Sierra Maestra? You think those guns came from Cuba? So this just is overly facile, and I was poor me, I'm trying to explain this on Jimmy Dore. And you can't, Garland, you can't explain these things in neat little sound bites.
If I may, on Jimmy Barbecue, if I may comment on that. Here's the thing. One of the things that the imperialists have always done, you don't say Russia, you say Putin. and then they demonize Putin, right? Or Navalny, and then they, this guy's, greatest thing since, they lionize him. He's the greatest thing since, slice since pockets, right? You don't say Venezuela, you say Maduro, and then they, so they take a name, then Juan Guaido. So Maduro, you turn him into the evil guy. Guaido, you turn him into the great guy, right? So this is the way they do. They take a country, they disregard the needs of the masses, and then they create a demon or an angel. Jimmy Barbecue, right? And this is what I hear from you. Let me know if I'm wrong. Why are we talking about Jimmy Barbecue? You got millions of Haitians. You got leaders and hardworking people, many who have sacrificed their lives and their families and been murdered and taken out by the empire and all these other things. And we're talking about one guy as though he makes or breaks Haiti. Example, the black leaders. You name someone that has been deemed as a black leader, right? Al Sharpton and other black leaders for years. Every time something happened in the black community, CNN, let's go to black leader Al Sharpton. And I was like, how the hell when did I vote for Al Sharpton? Right? Now, here's what I got to say. I have heard Al, who's not a stupid guy by any stretch of the imagination. I have heard Al Sharpton say things, and I said, oh, that's brilliant. I have heard Al Sharpton say things, and I'm like, man, that's some sellout bullshit right there. He's tap dancing for the man, right? For the power, right? But it ain't black pain or suffering or advancement in America ain't about Al Sharpton, but it benefits them if we can focus our discussion on Al Sharpton as opposed to the needs of the masses. Jimmy Charizet, I'm sure you can find something about him where he helped some poor people or something. I'm sure you can find something about him where you could say, well, that's some cruddy crap right there. He shouldn't do that. But if they can get us to distill this discussion down to Jimmy Charizet, barbecue. Why is he named barbecue? Did he barbecue? Did he not barbecue? This bull crap in the Washington Post. We don't talk about the needs of the masses, and the names that you're naming of people who have revolutionaries busted their butt and sacrificed. We're not talking about them. He's an easy target. So they create the thing for us to discuss about. No, forget Haiti. Let's talk about whether or not Jimmy Barbecue is good or bad. And then those of us who are working on behalf of Haiti, now they're winning. Why? The Washington Post is writing articles about Jimmy Barbecue, right? Then we're arguing about whether or not we should lionize or vilify Jimmy Barbecue, and the needs and masses of the Haitians are taken out of the discussion. And that's the way it's Putin, it's Maduro, it's Assad. Oh, you must love Assad. Oh, you're a Putinist. You love Putin. Forget a discussion about the Russian people, the security needs of the Russians and the Europeans and all of that stuff. We're just going to talk about whether or not Putin is a bad guy, whether or not why Jimmy got the name barbecue and bull crap like that. You get the last word because we got to get run after a few. Go ahead.
Yeah, very astute observation. Honestly, I think the Haitian leadership would agree with that dialectical approach, from one dialectician to another. Just hats off to the way you laid it out, because with full spectrum dominance, U.S. colonial dominance, how could we for a second think that somehow Jimmy Cherizier is outside of, the way Izo gets all of his guns, and the way Izo is one of the main quote unquote allies of barbecue, and he's got all types of blood on his hands, and he's one of the main drug dealers, and he does YouTube videos and brags about all the rape and carnage, and barbecue is rolling with these dudes. So it's incredibly complex, and the importance of going right to the source. I published this piece, shout out to Black Agenda Report. This is Chadensky Jean-Baptiste. He was murdered a year ago. These are the true Haitian revolutionaries. There's Tadina, my sister, and who assassinated Haitian community leader Chadensky Jean-Baptiste. And we have to go to the source. The Haitian people have their own poets. They have their own griots. They don't need no outsiders, and people should study Chadensky's words. And this was theater that they did after the La Saline massacre. La Saline massacre was one of the big, massacres that happened. And let's go to another incredible Haitian leader. His name is Ricardo Boucher. He's one of the incredible poets in Haiti. I'm trying to find. I just had it queued up. What did I do?
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Scroll back down to the picture of the people here.
Which one was it?
Scroll down to the top of this page with the picture you had of the guy who was assassinated,
Yeah,
and the one you said, yeah. I want people to look at that. Those are beautiful people, man. Look at the life. Look at the energy. Look at the beauty. Look at the smile in these people. You know what I'm saying? These people deserve a fair and reasonable life. Look at these, they paint Haitian people like they're some kind of animals. Oh, do these look like cannibals? Do these look like people who are roaming around like madmen and women? These are beautiful, intelligent, brilliant people that we are standing up for, and that we're asking everybody else, other people, to stand up for.
A smile is eternal and irresistible is one of Chudensky's poems, and that's what I did. That's what I did. Like, as the Haitian people always tell me, who cares about barbecue? Don't ask us about barbecue. Ask us about us. We're our own leadership. Everybody follow, Ricardo Boucher. This is one of Haiti's great poets. Again, just the beauty of this human being. And he's been dispossessed. He's been burnt out of his neighborhood 3-4 times. All these Haitian comrades live on the run. They don't have access to electricity. They don't have access to water. Never mind coming on to a show like this and to be translated from their language to our language so they can speak for themselves. So no more taking away a microphone for the Haitian people. How can we, in a united, non-sectarian way, get the Haitian voices out there? And they're doing the impossible, just like the Palestinians. And that's why I always, I got a million kafiyas, because the kafiya reminds us. The kafiya reminds us that we're human. As they take away life, as they tell you Palestinians are subhuman, as they tell you Palestinians bomb themselves. Did the Vietnamese bomb themselves for 13 years in the 60s and 70s? It was the Vietnamese that dropped 6 million tons of bombs on themselves. I mean, the absolute sadism, the genocidal sadism of these Zionists. These are sick human beings, and the fact that they can come on here and get me fired just to bring it all, but they can't shut down the truth. They can fire me, they can threaten me, and that's what they try to do. These big bullies. But Muhammad Ali was never afraid. All the people who we admire, just like the Palestinian people. And I was out in Louisville, Kentucky a few weeks ago as part of the tour out there, and I was at the University of Southern Illinois with Professor Carlos Garrido, who everyone should check out. Really kind of the Genesis. I was going to say the Bible. That's a bit, highfalutin, but the Genesis, the foundation of the Midwestern Marx Family Institute, is really Carlos and Noah and Eddie's writing, along with the other comrades, about the purity fetish. The left is always, in the Western left, it's a crisis, as the title of the book states. They want some pure resistance, in Syria. Syria gets bombed every day by Zionism. What's the U.S. left doing for Syria? And then, October 7th. Well, those are not the tactics that, you got air conditioning in Berkeley. You got a nice chair over there. You chilling. You got electricity in Cambridge. Who are you to judge the tactics used by the Haitian and the Palestinian people? And I think, that theme, our historical obligation, anyone who calls themselves a leftist, what are you doing to stand with this kafir, to stand with the Palestinian people who know how to resist, just like Malcolm taught us, by any means necessary?
All right. Where can people find more stuff? Danny, where can they follow you, etc.? Where can they donate, whatever the case may be?
Yeah, hashtag Molegaf. I talked a lot about Molegaf. Everyone should check out their work. My house is shaking like crazy. Is it an earthquake? Is it my house is shaking. Why was my house?
I think that was an earthquake. That was an earthquake.
They got Rocket Dalton and Khalil Gibran falling off my shelves. We don't have earthquakes here. I ain't in San Francisco. I'm in the Bronx, New York. We haven't had an earthquake since John Brown was 1800 or something, man. That was weird, but we'll have to So
I could have swore I felt a little shake. Maybe I'm wrong. I heard something going tap 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 tap. I don't know. It felt like a little shake here. What the hell? That was earthquake. I could see it.
that was symbolic, man. I don't know what that was, but I'm gonna have to pray and meditate after this joint. So yeah, I mean, I really want to wage a struggle back against the censors. They shadow banned, delisted, deboosted my Twitter. So if people can just support at Prof. Danny Shaw, like can we be, when they completely take out your Twitter, it's still there, but when they doxed me on October 20th, when they got me fired, it took them months to get me fired. But it began
Well, I'm off Twitter too.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm off Twitter too.
They took out your entire account?
Well, no, this is but here's what they did on mine. My account, one day I went to sign in and it said you need to change your password. So I tried to change my password and it said click here to appeal revoked or suspended account. So I sent the information in. It said we need your name information. So I sent that information in. Now I got 120,000 followers, right? I get an email that says we are unable to verify you as the owner of the account. If that's over, don't ask us anymore. You can start another account. Now, keep in mind, if you look at my account, it's sitting right there. There's a blue check mark by it. You know why? Because it's a verified account. I paid. They took the money out of my a bank account for the next year to verify my account. 1 month later, they send me an email that says we can't verify the account. We don't know who owns this account. It said we can't tell you who owns it because of personal information, but we can't verify you. Now, you got an account that's at Garland Nixon. You're emailing somebody garlandin@gmail.com. And the bank account that paid for that account is out of Garland Nixon, but you don't know who the hell owns the account. You can tell who it is. Could be almost anybody. It certainly isn't the guy. My next question is this. If you don't know who owns that account, why are you emailing me about that account in the first place? If it ain't mine and it's verified and you took my money. So again, if you think the richest man in the world is standing for free speech, you got a whole hell of a lot to learn about imperialism in the first place. You know what I mean?
It hurts. You built that up, blood, sweat, and tears. Like that wasn't easy. And they can just disappear us overnight. The tactics, I never got no email. I went similar to you. I was reaching millions and millions. And then overnight, they doxed me. They put me in some Nazi category, who knows what. And they're so slick. You know, these capitalists, these Zionists, they're such hypocrites. They're so slick because then they tell you, oh, we can't verify this is your account. Oh, you can't show that image. And on TikTok, they always shut me down. I didn't even know what TikTok was, but with this whole battle for freedom of speech, what option do I have? How do we get out information? Because at the end of the day, we're just, we're just people's soldiers and popular educators. So support, the brother Garland, and maybe there's some way for us to unite, like in some Twitter suit, because, Jackson Hinkle was talking about this last night, and we need help. We got to get more people centralized with Midwestern Marks and all these different organizations. That's just one that I work with. There's so many, but the Solidarity Committee and Black Alliance for Peace. How can we put together like a collective conference? Because Jackson was saying that Elon Musk said that you can have a lawsuit if anyone messes with your Twitter. And we should get him saying that, and then put that out there. I mean, it's not that we're ever going to believe in our enemies and the billionaires, and I don't want to come across as desperate, but in this day and age, I hate social media. I like to read things and see what people put out. I hate social media, but if you're a popular educator, if you're trying to stand up against the genocide, if you're trying to educate, if you're trying to be an internationalist with Haiti, what choice do we have, Garland?
Exactly.
And I hate when my thumb is moving. I want this to move. I want to be reading. That's what I want to be doing.
Right.
That's what I pray for Christmas this year. Just a way to centralize this so we can keep what Fidel Castro called the most important struggle, the battle of ideas. Because when I went down to Haiti in 2021, the Haitian leadership told me, Daniel, faut nous travailler à la guerre informationnelle. This is a war of information. This is a war on Haiti's self-esteem. How can we make Haitians believe in Haiti again? And that's what Molegaff and this United Movement is going to continue to do.
Well, before I go, I like to start doing this a little bit more. I would just, people always say books, books, books. Here's a couple of books that I would recommend if you want to know what I'm working on. Here's an interesting one. People's War, People's Army. It's a good book. It's by, if I can figure it out, General Diop. He's the guy who defeated the French for with the Vietnamese. That's a great book. Here's another one, and it's called Fascism and Social Revolution. R. Palm Dude, whatever. These are two. This was written in the 1920s. Both of these are fantastic books. Fantastic books. People, when you read People's War, People's Army, you'll understand why and how the resistance forces in the Middle East are defeating Zionism, are defeating fascism, are defeating imperialism. That is fantastic. And of course, Fascism and Social Revolution, you know, how do basically the people in power, you know, what is fascism, and the people in power, how do they create the dynamics for social revolution? So those are two great books that I would recommend. Danny, thanks a lot. Certainly appreciate it, and look forward. Hopefully I can get you on again soon.
100%. Thanks for the invite. I'll see you in DC. I want to come see your book collection. You know, Stalin used to inspect his lieutenant's library. So it'll be interesting. I want to visit Jake Johnston, an incredible researcher on Haiti. He got a new book, The Aid State, people should check out, and I want to come see your library. So thank you.
Sounds like a winner, man. All right, everybody, don't forget, here's what's important. Since Danny and I, you know, have been removed from or blacklisted or brown listed or whatever the hell from every social media, I'm still on Facebook. But how do I have 5,000 friends and on Facebook? Literally 5,000 friends. I'll put up something and get one like, I mean, something really good. Get like one like, one share with like 5,000. No. And everybody says, I never see your stuff, Garland. Never see. Of course, you know, but because it's dangerous. At any rate, so everybody, here's what we need you to do to help us out to get over this. Share this on all your social media platforms. Hit the like button. Share this everywhere you can. Thanks a lot, everybody. We're out.